Everybody, this is Jason Matthews. This is our weekly report that we're going to start doing every Friday night. Just really talking about what the economy is, how we see it's happening, and any new headlines that might have been happening for the day. So, one of the big thing that happened today was we got the August job report and the job numbers. So in August, the job numbers we got was said that we have 187,000 new jobs, which is a good note for us. We have a positive we have jobs, but when we really look deeper into this and really look at those numbers, it's not as hot, it's not as sexy as we thought that they should be for those numbers. So a big thing that we do when we see those numbers right now, and we think they're great numbers. The problem is right now we're actually having a slowdown with those numbers at 187,000 jobs. If we look at over a 3 month average, we're actually going through a decline right now in the number of jobs that we're actually doing. And because of those declines in the number of jobs we're having, right now, the unemployment rate actually has jumped up to 3.8%. Once again, like I say, at 3.8% uh, unemployment rate. So when we look at that, we're talking about people going back to work, people are working, things are supposed to be looking good, and really good things are happening. But what we're seeing is that the economy is slowing down for as a number of jobs. But at the same time, what we're seeing is that wages actually hasn't went up as well with how much inflation. So when we got those numbers earlier this month, we saw inflation at those inflation numbers that we saw were at about 3 point. Those inflation numbers are at 3.8%, but income wise for this month is at 0.2%. So if you do zero point 0.2 times 12, zero point 0.2 times 12, we're looking at a little bit over 2%. So income is not going up with inflation. And when you counter that with inflation is not going up with inflation, what that really just does show us is this. One thing is incomes aren't going up with it. So which is causing a couple of different things with it. One is we're seeing that credit card numbers are going through the roof. We're seeing the number of people who could qualify for homes have went down. And because we see both of those two numbers, they're doing a couple of things. With jobs slowing down, wages are not going up. We're seeing that the housing numbers have sold, the number of people buyers who are in the market has drastically have went down. Just because you know what, I cannot qualify. Interest rates are up higher. I cannot qualify for as much houses as I had before. And so, with that being said, people are more and more looking at these numbers, and now they're holding back. They're trying to pay off this regular amount of credit card debt they have, or just try and maintain. So this is just showing that we're going through a slowdown of the economy. But at the same time, the Federal Reserve, the people who have the power to print the money and control interest rates, still are talking about possibly raising interest rates just a little bit higher. As right now, 30-year mortgages are a lot higher than we have seen in the last 20 years. We see that credit card debt is through the roof. And so we're seeing this, and we're seeing that we are having a slowdown because of those numbers. But it's just very, very interesting on where do we go from here as a society right now, especially right now as we're going through, we're heading into a an election year right now. And with an election year, the president wants to get this economy rolling and going good as he is seeking a reelection. And with that being said, we will see how everything will go from there for his reelection with all this issues right now for his economy slowing down. So he's hoping that the Fed's don't raise interest rates. He's hoping two that he doesn't raise it, but it actually, or even freeze it, but actually decline it, and interest rates to go back, and we do something to jolt this economy by the time we go into November 2024. So I just really want to talk about that, where we're seeing things right now. We're seeing the economy slowing down. Now, you might be asking me, are we going to see it where we're going to go through this huge, huge, huge amount of how you could say we're going to go through this huge amount of a drop down? We're not sure. But what I personally think what we're going to see is we're going to probably see um, a more like a stagflation where the economy is stagnating. where we see that the most right now when we talk about the economy stagflating is right now with housing. Now, the housing market hasn't drastically dropped. It hasn't went crazy. But what we do see with the housing market is that it's been stagnant. The number of buyers and the number of sellers has drastically dropped down. That's why we haven't seen home prices drop through the roof. But here in the Bay Area, the new data shows you on a rolling 30 months average that that home prices has dropped down 10.7% year over year. So we're seeing those numbers kick into place right now on what's happening in that portion of the game, right? So we have to be conscious of that. So I'm about to pull up right now where we've seen those numbers drop down in the housing market, right? And if you guys, by the way, this is the first time we use strong string Virgo. So anybody who's on here, thanks again for watching us on here. We really do appreciate it as well. At the same time, what you want to do is at the same time, when we look at these numbers right here, 3.87%, let's look at these wages. You see how the wages have been drastically dropping down, right? You see in this, they dropped it back in March of 2023. They rose a little bit, but they declined. But this month, they declined out. The wages are not keeping up with what we need on a rolling 3 months to really fight inflation. So those just the numbers, the stats that we see with those numbers. But then we also see going up is that's causing a lot of things. Like I said, credit card numbers are going through the roof right now. And so we have to be very careful. When we look at these numbers for U.S. home prices and major cities that were booms and busts, great booms towns going in during COVID, we saw that a lot. Now we look at the home price index right now in San Francisco, we see those changes happening big time with it. And so we see those numbers big time with it as well. So the numbers where we see a big time happening at right now is in the San Francisco Bay Area, where we have this huge drop right here, as you can see in the housing market. We had this huge drop from 2007, 2008, 2009. Went up there and dropped again, but we've been going through 2012 to 10 years of pretty much an upswing in the home prices change. But now we see the stagnant part because now home prices are still high. They haven't dropped because we don't have enough supply out there to make the houses drop like crazy, but they have dropped. Not like 08, 09, but the number of buyers has actually dropped as well in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we have to be conscious of that, understand what's going on with it, so we can make the best decision for us, our families, and our businesses in the community. With that being said, it's going to be even more interesting when we talk about cities, because now with the number of homeless, crime going up, and cities even have to worry about with higher interest rates on how they're going to come back this deficit as well. Anyway, I just want to make this short video, just talking about these August numbers. Every Friday afternoon, we will be doing a live video. We love to hear your guys' thoughts through this whole thing. Hope you guys all have a good day. Have a great Labor Day, as I always call this the last summer vacation of the year.